the performance of the digitalization in Europe in the past. And I've seen that 10% only, 10% of the global ICT revenue is generated by European companies. 90% is generated outside of Europe. And therefore I think we have to catch up on this one. Europe should not lose its ground. And we, as Deutsche Telekom, we want to provide what we could do that this, catch-up race is taking place in Europe. Now going forward, what are we talking? What we think is very relevant. I'm worried, and maybe you've heard tomorrow this discussion about the keynote speech here at the Mobile World Congress. We need open standards. We are convinced that the sharing economy is the driver of our industry in the future. We share emotions, we share our most private things, we share goods, we share cars, we share everything, and we have just started sharing things. We just started sharing things. Now you could do everything over Google or some big American platforms which are normally closed. Your content is in one infrastructure. Or it should be an open standard, an open structure where we're going to do our exchange. The third topic, which I think is relevant for the leading European telco, is the paradigm of cybersecurity and data protection. If you would ask me what that T stands for, not for Tim, it stands for trust. It stands for trust. Customers trust us. And if you look into the market surveys of our brand, we have significant more customers trusting into the T than into any other brand in the digitalization space. And by the way, the gap is not small. The gap is significant. The next follower of T with regard to trust is 50% less trusted than our brand. And this is something where we want to build our credibility on in this leading European telco. We want that people trust that their data is safe, is secure, is with us. So that is, let's say, the idea. And therefore we have to do a lot of work, and the Mobile World Congress is a good example for that one. Only to give you some words about what we are working on. One thing is 5G. I talked about 5G this morning. It is limiting the light speed. In the past, light speed was never an issue. But if a car is communicating in a millisecond, up and download, it is not working that the car is communicating to our mobile site, then the mobile site is going to the fiber is going to a cloud somewhere, with the operator coming back the same way into the car while it's driving at 300 or 200 kilometers per hour. Light speed is becoming a limitation. So therefore we have to totally rebuild the network, that we have to bring content into the sites. And this is a total rebuild of our infrastructure, which we're working on, but it's worth doing it. Because in the future, we will 10 times, even 100 times, have a faster mobility on this regard. I cannot go into the details today, but I could tell you something tomorrow. The GSMA holds its press conference here because Bruno, our CTO at Deutsche Telekom, is leading this working group at GSMA with regard to new standards of the 5G world, which is going to be one of the huge driver for the future. The next one is eSIM, very important topic for this fair here, because if you manage this kind of wearables, if you manage this kind of small pieces which are connected in this Internet of Things, I could tell you a physical SIM is going to be a challenge. It should get even smaller. Now the question is, how could we make this software around the eSIM stuff? And here, the clear commitment from us is we as telecommunication operators should have an interoperable standard which is standardized across the entire telco industry. And that is, by the way, something we're discussing here, how we could make it a good industry-wide standard, which is then used from all, let's say, the vendors, from the devices, from the variables, but even from the industry users in this regard. Now, another topic already leading me through. Deutsche Telekom has last year, 2014, invested 9.6 billion euros, mainly into infrastructure. By the way, infrastructure is not always hardware, it might be even software in the networks, but think about 9.6 billion. In Germany alone, 4 billion, or 3.9 billion. The problem is, we are hiding our infrastructure in the ground, digging it away, or we hide it on church towers where nobody could see it. I could tell you, if Deutsche Telekom would spend the money on industry halls and motorways, there would be not a single motorway in Germany where you would not find a Deutsche Telekom booth. And by the way, the same is true for Europe. Now with this 9.6 billion, we have decided to even invest more into infrastructure. I'm a voted network investor. And not only in Germany, but even in Europe, we are committing more into fixed line and mobile infrastructure. And now I'm coming very close to what Claudia is presenting you today. We believe in infrastructure as a differentiator. There are two differentiators. By the way, what makes us different to the others? The first thing is our infrastructure and the way how we are producing our connectivity. And there are three components which should make us different. The first one is seamless connectivity. I do not want to bother, which I had to do this morning, about roaming passes, about wireless LAN connection, about a mobile contract, a fixed line contract, and getting connectivity everywhere. This should be seamless at any time. We are always connected to the best network. This is convergence and seamless connectivity. The second topic we believe in, we need services which are working in every single device. This requires IP. IP is the lingua franca for our business. So we should bring all the services into the same look and feel on the different devices. This is the IP. So convergence and IP. And the third one is, why are we operating in 28 countries, 28 networks with different standards? Why can't we move them into a cloud service for certain applications, steer the maintenance, bring services immediately and fast to the market? The standard for TV should be the same standard in Hungary as it is in Croatia, as it is in Germany, with the local content. But the platform, the UI, everything could be the same. If we do this, we are more efficient. We could produce cheaper than we could produce today, which is good for the consumers at the end of the day, and the time to market has a big advantage. So this is the third way of differentiating our infrastructure. And on the customer experience side, we have even two ways of differentiating. The first one is best service. Honestly, you have heard that. And by the way, we went a long way in our countries with great success, but we are still, we have to still improve in a lot of areas. Nevertheless, service stays relevant. If you once have to call one of the internet services, you have a problem, you never get somebody. And by the way, what you're doing, they're calling us. They call us whether the music service is not working, they call us whether they can't access their social media, they call us for every kind of topic. We should be the companion for our customers in this digital world. This is what we were, and this is what we want to be. But that is not enough. We should be simpler in the way how we interact with our consumers. Everything is going digital and software, so we will even strengthen the position that customers could actively approach us, proactively via all channels. Why can't I chat with my customer service via SMS? Why can't they approach me in the way how I communicated with my friends? Why do I have to stay in a waiting line and wait for getting access to an agent? We need new kind of ways of serving customers. And the last way of differentiation is Agenda 1, is the converged offers, is the way how we bring our products to the market. I don't believe that you compete on mobile prices. We have seen 39.99, 29.99, 50.99, 9.99. This is totally exhausting. And by the way, what is the quality aspect of that? What is the functionality? What is the aspect of additional convenience for our consumers? And Magenta 1, to include functionality into a very simple tariff, is something in a seamless, ubiquitous network nobody could easily compare or copy. So that is, let's say, the idea that we integrate functionalities in our tariffs combined with a good service. Now, today we are talking about the infrastructure side. The leading telco is here based in Europe. Our roots and our destiny are in Europe. And therefore the question is, how do we build the network of the future?